Okay, so it started streaming. Yeah, so it's starting. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, there it goes.
Oh man. Here it is. Change your freaking.
Go to this. Oh my god, look how laggy it is.
It's always this laggy, but it's also my phone.
Why is it always... Oh, look at this. What is this?
It's my phone. Like, I'm not connected to anything, so.
Oh, look. Oh my gosh. It's about to go crazy.
What's the name of the frog?
Gamatatsu.
That's his brother.
No, Gamatatsu is the younger brother.
Wait, what's the Naruto symbol? Hurry, look it up.
Do what?
Hold on.
Honestly, we're so far ahead of the rest of the classes, it doesn't matter if we just waste an entire class.
Wait, are we really?
Watch Naruto.
Yeah, we can watch my stream. Because I'm streaming right now.
Just get more time to prepare for the AP test.
That's smart.
Let's see what our schedule says.
People also search for Sasuke.
Yeah, I hope.
Monty.
Oh, look at that stream health. Video output low.
Mm.
Did you finish your art thing?
What?
Did you finish your art thing?
No.
Mine's pretty good.
It's terrible.
I did the first.
It's like that step that you
I'll show you that.
That you
Oh.
finish it?
You're like, oh wait, I think it's so miserable. There we go.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. No. Dun, 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 dun.
Hey guys, what should we steal now?
Your mom, that's what we should steal.
Did it again.
Are you playing Scooby Doo? Ooh.
Yeah, it was. And I realized that he asked me to do it. Oh my gosh. Little does he realize.
Have a seat!
Watch me speedrun it.
We should find an area outside and make it
Function bat.
Hey, no.
That's what she's making sure it's empty.
You better pick up that fire extinguisher.
Alright, now we're gonna start showing
What?
Dude, what are we doing? That'd be terrible. Chris is like
Are you supposed
emotionally
to-
gonna be destroyed.
But wouldn't you like the screen
Darn it, I messed up. There you go. Yeah, I did it. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun.
He's hot. That's why.
Wait, see a teacher with them? Wait, what'd you say?
Did you saw that they're reading each other?
You go yell at him.
Those aren't even students. Those aren't even students.
I don't see the teacher.
Those are
I heard
paid.
somebody just like, hey, let's all go outside and read.
Those are paid protesters.
Yeah, they're not reading each other. They might be reading each other. Who's reading out there? Shakespeare?
Oh crap, I forgot to get the piece.
Sit down! Should we ask them what they're reading?
I forgot to get the Egyptian mask.
Ask them what they're reading? Mike?
Jay's alive.
They don't re-yell at him. You see that? That kid's just rubbing his nipple at me.
We should go up there and do stats out there.
Getting uncomfortable.
Hey, that's perspective.
He's still going.
I think when he's done,
He's still going.
What's he doing?
Everybody just stare out the window.
Why is he looking?
Can I yell at him? Can I yell at him?
Only if you're gonna yell something funny. What are you gonna yell?
No, he's making me feel really uncomfortable.
That's not funny.
You can't yell unless it's something
Stop
funny.
rubbing
Oh no, he's running at
I
me.
think you should go talk to him about watching your room.
Hey, Tino.
Yeah, go do
Tino, go say
I'm streaming.
Tino, please.
Darn it, freaking Scooby.
Tino, you're the best, Tino.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, what is that?
Tell him about your phone.
What the other room? The other room's locked. You have to get the guard.
Oh.
It's Scooby Doo.
Damn it.
A good game.
Ask them if they know who Naruto is.
Everybody knows Naruto, Kate.
Yeah.
They just don't make that.
They might not.
Yeah, they do.
No, this is on the N64.
Yeah.
Uh,
All the cats died.
da- da-
They couldn't save. They couldn't solve it.
Scoobert Doobert Doo.
Yeah, they
Where
they
are you?
messed up on
I kept getting caught by the guard,
You
even
replaced
though it's the easiest thing to avoid.
Ah. No, the hardest thing to avoid is freaking like the controls, because every time it switches the camera
Yeah.
view, and the controls stay the same until you let go of the controls. Then it resets it.
Yeah, the control set. Wait, don't.
Alright, my friends, we got like 3 pages. Let's get finished.
Okay.
Oh, back here. Do we finish that? You understand they're not independent? You can't just multiply them together. There's more people between or less than 55 are gonna be college students than those over 55. Because they're not independent, you can't just multiply the two. Alright. Next example, straight out of your notes. Work it, see if you can get an answer. I think the rest of the notes are pretty much just examples to practice on. So we'll spend the rest of the day just finishing those examples. If you finish one and you're waiting on me, just move on to the next. We got 4, 5 more. Yes, sir.
Are you telling me a pitcher just happens to throw a perfect game?
What?
Are you telling me a pitcher just happens by random chance to throw a perfect game?
Can you say that?
No, but I'm just comparing it to the basketball thing.
We're talking about outside class. examples of doing your notes. Let's talk about this one. Baseball, a perfect game is when a pitcher doesn't allow any hitters to reach base in all 9 innings. Historically, pitchers throw a perfect inning, an inning where no hitters reach base about 40% of the time. So that's looking at all pitchers of all games over all time. So to throw a perfect game, a pitcher needs to have 9 perfect innings in a row. What's the probability that a randomly chosen pitcher, right, just a randomly chosen pitcher throws 9 perfect innings in a row, assuming the pitcher's performance in an inning is independent? Assuming it's an independent. If they tell you to assume it's independent, right, you should know what to do. You see that word, it gives away what I can do. What's the probability? Let's see. Assuming the pitcher's performance in an inning is independent of his performance in another inning, what's the probability that they throw 9 perfect innings? So they throw a perfect inning about 40% of the time. And so we're looking for perfect inning and, perfect inning and, perfect inning and. To get in the habit of being able to just knock that out quickly, 9 perfect innings would just be 0.4 to the 9. That's it. Probability they throw a perfect game would be 9 perfect innings in a row. What's that come out to? Like here I go, 0.00026?
Yes.
So less than 0.02% chance. Any questions there?
So notation wise, what do you need for that question?
You could take, I'd take a lot of things, but the shortest thing to write here, I'd just say the probability of 9 perfect innings. If you just wrote that, Jonah, I'd take that.
Okay.
Now, if you wanted to say throwing the probability of throwing or a perfect inning, throwing 1 perfect inning being X, and then you put like X equals, or you could say the probability of throwing a perfect inning. And then if you want to say the probability of A and A 9 times, you could, but I
Okay.
just probably go with that. Any questions there? All right. Next example. Hopefully you had a chance to get to it as well, maybe not as far. First trimester screening. The first trimester screen is a non-invasive test given during the first trimester of pregnancy to determine if there is a specific chromosomal abnormality in the fetus. According to the study published in the New England Journal of Medicine in November 2005, approximately 5% of normal pregnancies will receive a positive result. Stop for a second and understand what they just said. 5% of normal pregnancies would receive a positive result. What's that mean?
Of a missing
Well,
chromosome.
hang on. Let's talk about just that 5%. That 5% of the normal pregnancy, but what they get.
Chromosome abnormality.
Yeah, so it's saying that 5% of the people whose the fetus was fine, the test came back and said that it was not. Do we understand that's what it's saying? Alright, so now let's keep going. Among 100 women with normal pregnancies, so we're saying all 100 have normal pregnancies, what's the probability that there will be at least one false positive? Please make sure you note that at least one. That means one false positive, or 2 false positives, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 100 false positives. What they're asking you there is to calculate 100 probabilities. Hopefully you paid attention the past couple of days and you know what to do. So I'm going to give you some time to work on that. But again, go back to the sentence before. It said approximately 5% of normal pregnancies would receive a positive result. Meaning, there's a 5% chance
Sean.
of normal pregnancy getting a false positive. So, use some time to work. Remember, when you're doing an AP Stats test, you've got to answer questions like it's the court of law. So there's something you'd have to mention here. Something that was mentioned in the last question that's not mentioned here. Let me ask you this. The question doesn't say this, but if I gave you this and I said, what's the probability that you had 2 false positives? Right? Not out of 100 women. 2 women in a row. You had false positive and then another false positive. So if I said out of 2 women, what would be the probability of getting 2 false positives? Okay, nothing. See that?
Would it be like 5 out of 100 and then 4 out of 9?
No, listen.
Like,
I'm saying forget the 100 people.
okay.
Okay? Stay with, let's stop right here. So stop at the act before the last one is read. If I said approximately 5% of normal pregnancies will receive a positive result, and I tell you, you got 2 women with normal pregnancies. What's the probability of them both having a false positive?
0.025.
Do what?
0.025.
Where are you getting 0.025, James?
0.05 times 0.05.
Is that legal? Say that louder, Greg.
They don't tell you if it's
They don't tell you if it's independent or not. There will be a question on the AP exam where they don't tell you independence or not, but surely to goodness you can figure it out. There's some common sense here, right? If one lady goes in, takes a test, and she gets a false positive, and then another lady goes in and takes a test, will the first lady's result affect the second lady's result? No. Not at all, right? Do you get that? So now, you can't assume the reader knows that. This is the court of law. So at some point in a problem, if I ask you this problem, you first have to go, we would assume that the tests are independent. That's enough. Okay? We'd assume the tests are independent. Why? Well, common sense. If some lady goes in and takes a test, the next lady that comes in, her results aren't going to be affected by the first lady's. Right? Let's talk just blood type. If you went in, you got your blood type checked, and then I go in after you, my results aren't going to be affected by you. They're not going to be like, oh, the guy before you was B, so you're probably AB. And they're independent. So these medical tests, we'd assume they're independent, so you've got to state that. You have to state it. They didn't tell you independent. If they don't tell you, you've got to either say it's independent or say it's not. So you got to be thinking about that. Give you some time to keep working. Hopefully, instead of finding 100 different probabilities and then going back and adding up 100 different probabilities, you reverse it. The probability that there are one or more false positives would be 1 minus the probability that there are
0.
no false positives. Everybody got that? The probability that there's one or more is the same as 1 minus the probability that there are none. There's not a single false positive. 1 minus that would give you the probability of everything else. Because that's the whole sample space. Remember at the beginning of the chapter we talked about, make sure you realize the sample space a lot of times is one more than actually how many it looks like. There's not 100 possibilities here, there's 101. One woman could have a false positive, 2 could, 3 could, all the way up to 100, but also 0. So there's 101 possible outcomes. All 100 could have a false positive, 5 could, 10 could, 70 could, 0 could. So then how do I find that? Before I find that, you've got to make a statement. So maybe, instead of saying we would assume, probably go with it is safe to assume. It's safe to assume that the results of the test are independent of each other. I've got to say that before I move on. Have to. Because if I move on, I'm about to do some calculations, and you cannot do any calculations until you've proven that. So now I'll go 1 minus. The probability of getting no false positives. What's the probability of getting, let's say, one woman, not a false positive? 95%. But how many times do I want it to happen? 100 times, right? If I'm saying the probability that there are no false positives for 100 women, I want that right there. Probability of not getting a false positive is 95%. So if I want nobody to get a false positive, that'd be 95%, 100 times in a row. Look at that, spend some time there.
Will you explain when you got the minus b equal to parentheses x?
If we want to know the probability of having one or more, think confidence. Think confidence. Listen. I want to know the probability of getting one or more. What I'm really saying is, right? Does that make sense? Now, to do that, you'd have to say, okay, what's the probability of getting one false positive? And you have to figure that out. And then the probability of getting 2, and then 3, and then 4. So you'd have to find 100 probabilities, and all those would be different. But instead of doing that, what's the only thing I didn't check, Andy? Or what's the only thing I haven't calculated here? That's the probability that one of those 100 women got a false positive. That's the probability that 2 of them got a false positive. That's the probability that all 100 got a false positive. What's your sample space? How many possibilities are there? 1 woman could get it, 2 women could get it, 3 women could get it, 99 women could get it, 100 women could get it, or nobody could have got it, right? So if that's everything but one thing, that's almost 100% of my options, right? So I could say that, or I could say 1 minus the probability that x equals 0. Does that make sense? It'd be kind of like this. If we're just talking about the class and I said, okay, you randomly pick somebody from the class. What's the probability that you pick a girl out of this class? Well, it's the same as 1 minus the probability that you pick a guy. That make sense? If there's 75% girls in here, I could find 75%, or I could just say 1 minus the percent of guys, 1 minus 25%. Everybody follow that? Now, so think about that. Here's what we just found. This may seem surprising to you, but in the end, hopefully I'm going to tie it back up and make it make sense. If there's a 5% chance of somebody getting a false positive, if we had 100 women, the probability that at least one of those women would get a false positive is almost 99.5%. Does that seem surprising? A lot of times people think that doesn't make sense because 5% is a real low chance, right? But if we looked at it 100 people, well, think about this. How many would we expect to see if we had 100 people? How many false positives? 5. There's a 5% chance, right? So the probability that I see 1 or more should be pretty high if there's a 5% chance. And it is pretty high. Everybody follow that? Okay. If you are confused about that, I'd star beside that on the notes and write page 322, because there's an example exactly like it on page 322 that'll walk you all the way through it again. If that's confusing, you read 322, and then if you're still confused, you make sure you come see me outside of class. Once you get it, it clicks and it's easy. But until it clicks, it's very confusing. You may have a question on that before I move on. Nobody? All right. Conditional probability formula. We already looked at it. We just rearranged it when we looked at it. And we made it the intersection formula. But it's on the formula sheet. I think they write it backwards. On the formula sheet, they write probability of A given B. Yeah. But same thing. They given A given B and they divide by B. If I put B given A, I divide by A. So. On the formula sheet. When you fill in those blanks, make sure you read that. Make sure you are defining any variables you use, and make sure you are showing work. Do not just give me a decimal, you'll get no credit. Then look at the next example. You're going to go back to the tree diagram you already made in your notes, but look at what we're going to find. So when we were looking at the low, moderate, and heavy media users and the grades they got, the question is this: what percent of students with good grades are heavy media users? And before you go turning back, what I would try and do right now is write that with the correct notation. Don't say it out loud. I'm asking questions. Don't answer them out loud. I'm trying to help you figure out what to write. What percent of students with good grades are heavy media users? What percent of students with good grades? The first part of that question, what percent of students with good grades? What is that? What did I just do? I gave you an area to look at. In other words, I gave you... Yeah, and by doing that, I gave you what?
Condition.
A given, right? The given, the second part of a, what kind of probability? Conditional probability. That's the way you've got to read that sentence, right there, as soon as you're there. As soon as you read that, what percent of students with good grades? I automatically know this question wants to know somebody's trying to get my attention.
Whoa. They're probably watching my stream.
I've been hacked, so. You hacked me, Tina?
Just looking at some Jinkos.
I'm trying to say about it. I'll get some eggs over there just for
Please do.
I'm always making bad decisions under peer pressure. I'm not doing it.
You shouldn't do it.
It's too late. Was it this class when I sprayed somebody in the eyes?
Yeah.
That was not a smart decision for somebody who needs to keep their job.
It's okay.
There's some more workers.
We got your back.
That's what you got to notice. As soon as you read that, so now it says, what percent of students with good grades are heavy media users? So now we want to know this. And then you should immediately go to your formula sheet. You've got a formula for that. The probability of A given B, it's on the formula sheet, is the probability of A and B over the probability of B. So if we change that to A and we change that to B, now we know what to look for.
Shoot.
Blake over there is on an apple. Is that I know it's in? Now, if you filled out that tree diagram, it becomes easy. But that's what I'm telling you, it's so important for you to understand the notation on that tree diagram. Probability of A and B over the probability of B. Turn back there and look at that tree diagram. The one we worked on when we first came into class. What percent of students with good grades are heavy media users? So we said what we're looking for is the probability
Yes.
of good grades and heavy media users out of the probability of good grades. Hey, it's gonna be alright. Your test is a lot more important, I promise.
Wouldn't that just give you the head?
Do what?
I'm confused on like, wouldn't the probability? Just keep going.
Are you saying
I'll
like,
see if I can
you're
answer.
wondering if those would cancel out? Is
Yeah,
that what you're
but
saying?
I don't think they're going to, and I don't understand why they will.
Just think about what this is saying. This is saying out of all the people who got good grades, right? So if you change these from percents to numbers, let's say there were 100 people surveyed. How many people got good grades? What did we find back there on that example?
21, 68%, 70%.
No, but what did we find? We already did that. Look back at your notes. What did we find? We found the probability of good.
65.66%.
65.66. They got 0.6566. That's percent of all people who got good grades. But I want to know, what's the probability if somebody got good grades that they were a heavy media user? So where on this tree diagram am I going to find that? It's not up here.
Aren't you gonna have to do 50? Yeah, aren't you gonna
That times that, right? It's the end, remember, over here is the intersection. So if I wanna know the probability that they were a heavy media user and had good grades out of everybody who had good grades, it'd be 0.52 times 0.21. Whatever that is.
0.1092.
And that gives you your answer to that question. You gotta realize it's a conditional probability.
So, oh, never mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any questions on that problem? Now, if we hadn't already done it, you would have had to go through and make the whole tree diagram, figure out that final column, and then figure it out from there. Okay? Next problem. A and B. something in this problem that gives away what you should be doing. What is it? What should be your giveaway?
You should say that you're assuming.
Let's see. Before that.
Not all people.
Nope. There's percents. As soon as you see percents, you should be making a diagram. If there being counts, you'd be making a two-way table. False negative. False positive would be you get a positive when you shouldn't have, right? The false negative would be you get a negative when you shouldn't have. Meaning you did drugs, or you got a negative. You passed when you shouldn't have passed.
You have eggs right there.
I'm just like all grabbing it. Just me.
Jesus. Attack. Talk about Naruto.
Rate mine differently.
You want me to tell you like how?
Okay, well, if it's like, if you suppose that 4% do, and there's like a 5% false positive, then I put on one side like 0.09, this resulted positive, and the other was 0.91 that resulted negative. And I branched that off into like 0.04 actually did use them, and 0.05 didn't. And then, for the 0.91 for negative, I branched off and said 0.10 do use them when they got negative, and 0.81 did use them when they got negative.
This is the answer.
Mr. Kessler? When it says like a false positive rate, would that mean like wouldn't it switch?
What it should mean is that the percent of people who got a positive when they didn't do drugs would be 5%.
Okay.
Right? Because
Yeah.
a false positive would be flagged you saying you tested positive for drugs, but it was false, so you shouldn't have.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking of it the other way. Sorry.
So if you want to know the percent that would test positive, you're looking at 90% of 4% and 5% of 96%. Percent that would test positive would be this total and that total. 90% of 4%, 0.036, and 5% of 96%. So we're looking at a total that tested positive of 0.84.
084, yeah.
No, 8.4% of everybody they test positive. Steve, what percent of prospective employees who test positive actually use illegal drugs? Everybody realize that immediately we know that's a conditional probability? What percent of, and tell me where to look. Only look at people who test positive. What percent of people who test positive actually use drugs? So if I want to know that, I want to know the probability that they used drugs given they got a positive. So that's the probability of they used drugs and got a positive out of everybody who got a positive. What's the probability they used drugs and got a positive?
0.9.
Yeah, about 0.3036. That's why I got that total here. Remember, this total is intersections. It's this and this. Positive and did drugs. Positive and did do drugs is that. And I can find the other two if I needed to. So it's 0.036 out of the total positives, 0.084. What's that come out to?
0.036 divided by 0.084.
Yes, sir.
0.4285, sorry. So 0.33.
So this employer, when they get somebody who tests positive, there's really a less than 50% chance they actually did drugs. Do you get that? And there'd be a need here to change your test. Of all the people you're saying you're not taking because they tested positive for drugs, only half of them really tested positive. Less than half. Everybody follow? Any questions there? Yes, sir.
I didn't get the same numbers.
Let me get to the next question.
Well, actually, wait, no, it might work out in the end. Because like,
You keep working. And I'll come look at it. Everybody else is good?
Yeah.
All right, final question. Notes are done. Is there not? Don't you have one more question on there? There it is. Is this it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Monday, I will give you the practice test, but if you want to go ahead and look at the practice test, it'll be on Blackboard. Okay? Monday, I'll give it to you. Tuesday, you'll get the practice test key. Wednesday, we will take the test. You got the rest of the class to start working on this. You'll see a question very similar to this on the exam, so it's good practice. I'll go over it on Monday. You got about 5 minutes to try and complete it right now.
No, they left. Get him.
Where'd you throw at her?
It's Mark.
You hit him?
Yeah. What is squared between the eyes?
You see me throwing those earlier?
Did
you see me throwing
Yes, I saw you the first time.
I've been throwing it.
I know! We
I
heard
not to
it.
do it. It stressed me out. I told you not to.
I turned you into the principal, so.
Good.
Mr. Whistler, I hope you have
You
a
too.
magnificent weekend.
All of it. Turned you all in.
Thank you.
Have a magnificent weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Adios. Hey, Blake.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So Andy, I guess the thing to say would be, when you start, always start with what you 100% know. We know at 4% use drugs, obviously 96% happen not. But if you know some that's positive, you don't know how many don't. I wouldn't say necessarily fraud, just what you know for certain.
He's twerking. Look at that. Look, he's twerking. Let's get the W on this record test.
Greg.
On this record test. When? Baba.
You got some cool ass shirts.
No, I get them on sale. This was like 75% off.
All right, I'm streaming again.
Thanks. That was 50% off.
Hey, no, what the hell? No!
Why?
I think it's kind of. Oh my god, I'm sorry if I stink. I'm literally burning up. We went outside and it's God, it's so hot.
All right. Okay, can you please not move my computer? Or this?
Yeah.
Please? If you need me to move, I'll move it. Thank you.
Contact.
I will beat your mom and tell her I love her.
The dyke piercing?
Yeah. Dyke. With the TH.
I thought you said dyke.
Yeah, I heard that
Dyke
also.
is.
I'm a dyke, TBH.
Right here. It's like a hoop kind of, and it goes around.
Oh my god, that'd be
Right, your hands are really cool. They're so nice. And they're supposed to like get
Wait,
rid of
wait.
migraines and really fight with them.
Yeah, you need that.
Choke you.
Daddy, no.
My hands? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You could use my other hands also.
Oh my gosh. I'm so hot.
No, my hands.
Oh
Not
my
hers.
gosh.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm burning up. Feel how cold your hands are.
I'll take her.
Air conditioning on in there. No, he's there too.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, someone come touch me. Like, you are your hands cold?
No, I'm super hot.
Oh my gosh.
You are.
Apparently my hands are cold.
And I really
Your
like
hands
this
are
one
hot.
though.
Your head's hot.
Whose is hot? Mine hands are hot?
No, Parker, thank you.
Does that feel
Oh my god,
alright?
you have no idea how much I cooled off. Like, I'm cool now.
Am I getting the flu?
You better not.
Feel my head.
Oh my god.
Is it just these pants? They're North Face. Like, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
So, okay, how did this whole thing of everybody having putting their hands on Vinny's start?
Because she's hot. She's hot. I'm cold.
Apparently my
I
next
would kill him.
That's it.
My forehead's really high. You wanna feel it?
My mom's hot.
It's gonna go up to... Did he say R.I.P.? It said Travis C. Oh.
with it, just a little bit better.
Join in and see how fast we can get.
This is the best class if you're able to play Bop It and stream on YouTube.
When is it gonna turn off?
Is it gonna say something? It's gonna say something. It's gonna say something. This is a bad idea.
Alright, we have 2 current events today. Both English. So, let's
It was really fun. You might have a lot of makeup on the body part. Sorry.
Are you?
The bop it, I kept hitting it on my face, so she probably had like a ton of makeup on it.
Meow.
Sorry. At least it's sanitary makeup.
Is it?
Not at all, if you want to be honest.
What do people even wear? I don't wear makeup. I know a lot of guys who wear makeup.
alright,
My dad.
So my topic was the palm oil industry and how this is affecting the orangutans, and they're mostly having like habitat loss. Okay. So the problem is habitat loss, and the orangutans are already endangered. And the two reasons are deforestation and the expansion of the palm oil industry. And already 80% of the last 20 years has been of the habitats of orangutans has been destroyed in Malaysia and Indonesia, and these are the only 2 places that they live. And this is resulting in a loss of biodiversity of some of the most rich rainforests in the world. So who's behind the issue? Often it's farmers, so there's smaller plantation farmers and not related to the big industry, and it's sometimes hard for them because they feel the pressure of maybe trying to put food on their family's plates, and it doesn't they have no other way to survive basically, so they have more pressure to, it's harder for them to deny the possible profit. And then the big companies are more at fault because they have enough money to get oil from maybe a plantation that is more sustainable. So McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, KFC, and several other name brand chains have pledged to stop buying palm oil linked to deforestation. And McDonald's has actually just decided to stop buying any products that are related to deforestation. So this is just some facts about orangutans. There's 2 species, Bornean and Sumatran. Of the Bornean, there's 45,000 left in the world, but of the Sumatran, there's only 7,500. So that's not a lot, obviously, because if something like a disease were to come and wipe them out, they'd easily wipe them out. So the main habitat for the Bornean is Borneo, and it's located in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. And the main habitat for the Sumatran orangutans is in Indonesia, or in Sumatra, which is located in Indonesia. So their main food is bark, leaves, flowers, insects, and lots of fruit. And the random facts about them, they have the same number of hair follicles as humans. Male orangutans have cheek pads that make their heads look larger, and they have the most intense relationship between mother and young, other than humans. So they only give birth once every 8 to 10 years. That's also not good for the low population. It's harder for them to have a population grow.
The Lord.
Just watch the first minute.
I am the orangutan, man of the forest. I am the largest tree-dwelling animal in the world. I use the trees to avoid my natural enemy, the tiger. I live in the Indonesian forests of Borneo and Sumatra. I may soon be homeless and may even become extinct because of the devastating effects of intense deforestation. The rainforests that I call home are being cleared at an alarming rate in order for people to plant palm oil plantations. As many as 300 football fields of forests is sometimes cleared every hour to make way for these plantations. Uncontrollable forest fires kill the beautiful trees where my friends and I live, leaving us vulnerable and alone with no access to shelter, food, or water.
Beginilah keadaan hutan kami dihancur lantakan, sampai seperti ini dibakar. Padahal yang membakar itu adalah perusahaan itu sendiri, bukan masyarakat, tapi tubuhnya tetap kepada masyarakat. Nah, ini yang kurang menyenangkan di pikiran saya.
Palm oil is found in over 40% of all supermarket products. It is used in food, cosmetics, and other products like laundry detergent.
Watch the Lorax full movie.
So my question for you guys is, what do you think are some of the products that contain palm oil?
Oh.
You can discuss in groups.
That's what she said.
Laundry detergent. Laundry detergent.
Why doesn't palm oil come from your palms? Doesn't palm oil come from like your palms?
Yes, that's definitely how it comes.
We have 80 minutes left in class. That's
Disgusting.
20 more minutes.
Why the hell would he even tell us that? Yeah.
What do you mean? I have the clock open. Don't move my computer. But the
I'm gonna move your fucking computer, Tina.
touch my finger.
Find any bird, hey, can you find
Pull my finger.
Find any bird skulls and owl pellets, give them to me. I want some.
Bop it.
Still question.
Oh no!
You did it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it did anything.
What is it? Why? Why do you need it?
Guys, here's
No, it's good. We need Gucci.
us to give him all the owl pellets and animal skulls we find.
No, nigga, fuck you.
No, just bird skulls. I just want the bird skulls.
No. Okay, I have all my skulls for what's there. I ain't getting no shit.
You may know.
Maybe I can make that.
No, we're doing nothing. Explain what we're doing. Not today.
Okay, so lipstick, like you said, makeup,
Pizza dough.
detergent, margarine, chocolate, soap, pizza dough. So those are some of just like the everyday things, but they're in like a ton of things too. So some hidden words that you might see like on an ingredients label for palm oil are vegetable oil, palm kernel oil, palm fruit oil, palmate, vegetable fat, palmitate, and glycerol. Okay, so how can you help? You can look for, not everything that may come from a sustainable farm will have these labels, but you can be sure like if they do have the labels, they've come from like a sustainable farm. So the green palm sustainability means that the product is in support of the transition to certified palm oil. And the other label is the RSPO label, which means you're purchasing palm oil that was produced in a socially and environmentally friendly way. So that's it.
Now other Emma.
Wait, no, we're not gonna have this
Yeah, boy, Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
I get those all the time.
You look so
I don't
disgusted.
Like, I don't understand
You
why.
look disgusted.
I get them. I just have pictures of it because I want to do it. Yeah, I do it with the rooms because I'm trying to redo my rooms.
My rooms are turning purple.
Okay, so I had a similar topic about habitat loss in the forests, but my article was more about how forests are moving away from Americans. Oops. Okay, so Daryl Fears wrote this article, and he's from the Washington Post, and pretty much his main statement, or his main theme throughout the article, was that Americans once moved away from forests, but now forests are moving away from Americans. So what's happening? Basically, this article talked about how Americans, as I said, have left rural and forested areas and have started to they've started to live in communities that are urban and more developed. So rural forests, as a result, are moving farther from where we now reside. The average distance from anywhere in our nation to a forest has increased by about 1/3 of a mile, which might not seem like that much of a distance considering we have cars and like ways to transport, but for birds who migrate and other animals, this is a really big distance and a big change. The disappearance of these rural forests is occurring because we're putting all of our attention and our money and our time on green spaces in cities and in urban developed places, and we're kind of ignoring the remote spaces that we have vacated. Farms, wildfires, and development are the main cause of this rural deforestation, and it can cause a decline in the rural forests, can lead to climate change, soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, loss of habitats, and decreased quality of human life, which is a lot like similar to the things that we've been talking about in here lately. Okay, so here are two pictures. I thought this was a good one because there's like a lone tree and then a ton of like open space and then some more trees. So as you can see, a lot of land is being cleared out and groups of trees are becoming farther and farther away from each other. And then this was a picture that was included with the article, and it just shows the distance between trees and how it's becoming greater. So my question how would our lives be affected by the loss of habitats and ecosystems due to this deforestation?
Right, so mosquitoes.
Oh god.
They
You already
like
started off bad.
that wasn't bad. How was it bad? Mosquitoes, right? Okay, so the mosquitoes. Okay, so right. I don't like them, but they live so that they can eat like this pestle poops. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're called.
He's not. This doesn't even make sense. How would our lives be affected by the loss of habitat and ecosystems due to rural deforestation? Well, first off, we kind of need forests for resources and biodiversity. So without biodiversity, I mean, humans could honestly probably live without like a bunch of like the forest animals. But the thing is that the forest animals can't live without the forest animals. So that'll end up impacting us in the long run. And plus, we get a lot of like palm oil is being replaced or is replacing the forest. But yet we have companies that are like banning the use of palm oil. So it's like we're doing all this and we're not going to get any benefit out of it in the long run. So losing forests is just overall non-beneficial.
No, I just smelled it. I smell like pasta noodles.
No, I don't think so. I'm not drinking because usually it's bad.
I'm going to the park.
Trying to what?
When is it? What day? Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday
night.
Where?
Well, for one thing, the loss of habitats cause a ton of animals to kind of like be all over the urban areas, and that can cause a lot of problems for us if we like crash into a deer, and that wouldn't be fun. So,
Forces animals to move somewhere else. Lord. Yes. What else? That's one way. Anything you can say to this? Yes, ma'am.
okay, so like we eat like
there's a word if animals and plants start going extinct. There's a loss in biodiversity. That's a big one. What else? Increase greenhouse gases. There you go. So what do trees do? Yeah. Yeah, so trees take in that carbon dioxide, right? What about just aesthetics?
Looks
What's prettier?
Forest.
Or forest?
Forest. Yeah. And ooh, I have an
All right.
definitely
We have
any
questions?
I love pretty.
Another one got out. Come away there. Any questions, Evan? Concerns? All right, we're good. Great job,
Oh crap. Can you help?
So, what I want to do, I want to be efficient with our time today. So, I'm not going to go over like kind of what we did yesterday for homework right now. I want us to keep going. So I want you should be starting Model 2 by now. That's where you should be, like number 12, Model 2, and then starting Model 3.
Awesome.
All right? So I need you all to keep going until you get to the alpellets. Okay? Alpellets stage. Let's not do the alpellet lab. We'll do that in about
Like it's super common.
20 minutes or so.
Well, I need to do a practice.
Keep going.
Oh my god, the alphabet organized. Yay! Oh my god, I freaking love alphabet.
This is like my fourth time I'll be doing this. I love it.
I freaking love it. I have all my skeletons from 4th grade, all my rat skeletons.
Yes. Ooh, I fixed it. Ooh.
You need a new USB drive.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. So, Model 1. Oh, how much did I didn't do the first day.
I didn't do the first time. Girl, I'd be extra sure of this. I didn't do any work for this. So don't copy that on that work because it's not right.
You don't need to do it.
You got 2 stamps. I know because you screwed up the first one. Wow, Mr. Jones. And so I made him give me another one.
What's a good game that you could play like?
Bop it.
Bop it? Bop it.
Why is Bop it blocked?
Oh my gosh. Fupa.
I like how people just automatically think this is for them. I had like 10 people text me over it. Why are you flipping me off? Why do you think I care enough about you?
Oh, you're irrelevant.
Yeah, like
I didn't even see that. Why is that a very small one?
orb.
There's orb.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the same. No, that's percent. What the hell are you thinking? That's my percentage, Simon.
Let's go impossible quiz. Begin. Uh-oh. Slap Me Do presents the impossible quiz.
Oh, I've played that so many times.
I need to get that game, and you didn't text me about it. Alex took my phone and asked me for my number, or like asked me for my password. And then wrote down his number in my phone. And I was like, okay, Alex. It was weird, He's kind of my favorite though. I love him. It's not like I like
Shallots.
What are you looking at?
Gosh, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I put it up. It's real bad. I know.
I had it in braids, and I went and walked into the bathroom with Sam, and like this part was sticking out. I was like, "Why didn't you tell me? You fucking scared." And she started laughing. And I went,
Oh, I got that right.
"Wait, Sam?
I still saw her today and it was dyed again.
She dyed it? When did she dye it?
Well, because what didn't she dye it back to like dark brown to like her natural?
That is her natural.
Like this right now.
Yeah, that's her natural.
Yeah, no, but I thought it was like brown. I might have been tripping. I mean, it looks good. I just thought she dyed it.
No, it's probably the light. It does that.
Oh, I meant the.
Is it okay if I do this?
Do what? Yeah. She's gonna be helping me on this. And well, if you want me to look off yours while you're doing it, and talk to you about it, so you're not doing it all by yourself and then me copy. So, okay. I'm flipping. We're flipping. We're gonna like this, okay? How do the pyramids in Model 3 differ from the pyramids shown in Model 1 and 2? Wait, where's one? Is one the first? This one? What is Model 3?
Oh, I didn't even know that.
The grams.
I'd say grams per meter squared instead of the number of organisms or calories.
Yeah, kilocalories. Kilocalories. I could just go through capital C and do the same thing. What is the math? So 1,000 grams per meter squared. 1,000. I'm in the I do that all the time, like with everything. What is the mass of the side of flat vital freezer?
Oh my gosh.
40 grams per meter squared. What's the training dynamo?
Who's your favorite animal? Well, the trend. There's more of trees and more.
Yeah.
Like
not the
proportion.
same as what I was saying because I'm a retard. I'm gonna look at something real quick. Was this both originally, or did he change it to that?
I thought it was both.
Bran?
Huh?
Hey, when you get to this, will you write both? Right there.
Click.
On yours?
Yeah, on mine.
Yeah.
But my handwriting is so different.
Give me your pencil. Thanks.
How do you kill a werewolf?
Through the heart.
Silver bullet.
Oh yeah. Guys,
Gray
I'm retarded.
granules? Black
Yeah.
pudding?
No,
Shoe polish? Or kill it bang?
Whatever has.
Shoe polish. It's shoe polish.
Oh my gosh.
I've played this. I don't know. I've been listening to Chance the Rapper.
Oh.
Been listening since I was like 6. I'm just kidding. Since I was like 12.
I was dead since I was 6.
He's not new.
He isn't?
No.
I just started listening to him. And I really like it.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He's very inspirational. And his stuff is really deep. And
That's
you don't
what-
know it's deep until you listen to it.
Until
5
like,
times.
no,
It's
he'll
Childish
have, like,
Gambino.
Childish Gambino.
Oh my
Okay.
god, I freaking love
I
Childish Gambino.
love Donald Glover so much.
Oh my god, I freaking love Childish Gambino. He's so sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, me too.
I can do dark chocolate with a little bit of caramel.
Oh my god. Macchiato.
Wait. Bud's Titson. Twat. Brown Willie. Arse face. Blubber houses.
Phytoplankton are microscopic aquatic organisms that are quickly consumed by microscopic animals, zooplankton. Because they are eaten so quickly, there is a need for phytoplankton to produce rapidly for survival. Explain why a pyramid-wide ecosystem can exist with a smaller biomass.
Wait, which of these place names does not
There's
exist?
never that many of them.
Yeah, it's like even though the production rate is so high, so is the rate that they're getting eaten. But like the production rate's just still slightly bigger than the eating rate. But yeah, it's just like it kind of balances each other out and keeps it at like a one little level. But yeah. I just texted Alex and said he looks so Asian.
Well, he is Asian, so.
Oh my god, he was so cool as a baby.
I would have actually caught it if he wasn't there, but that's okay. It's fine.
Hey, everything from there on is hella easy.
Okay, but do I need my computer for this part? Because I don't want to be like doing it without what I need.
No, you can copy that part off of me because I copied that part off of him. Like I did exactly what he said because I got it all wrong. Sorry, this is totally her packets. Okay, use examples from the previous models to explain the advantage of using a pyramid of energy or biomass rather than a pyramid of numbers to explain the relationship between different surface levels. But when you do numbers, they're not as exact because you can never account for every single one. First off, that's just one reason. And then another thing.
Keep talking and listen.
So, more accurate.
Oh my god, that made my day.
I don't know. I mean, it shows how more drastic it actually is.
Hey, which
Like,
place
it's more,
name
it's
doesn't
more
exist?
accurate representation.
Oh, is that the connection?
How's he gonna tell me to keep focusing when he's over there playing like a little dude? What? I'm so dumb. He's playing with the ball and then he's like talking to himself. Oh my god.
Who is?
Oh yeah, and by the way, it's like 2 full pages or 3 full pages. I need to start doing. So wait, what did you say on this side?
Abundance.
How are these pyramids different from the pyramids in Model 1?
I don't think it's abundance, is it?
I think it's funny.
I think it's fair. They show a number of animals instead of calories. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's abundance, huh?
I'm sorry.
Egg mayonnaise. Oh.
I find it funny.
Ooh. Aw. I always put cricket crap in my flipper flap. You don't know me.
How we doing?
What?
Doing well? Doing great?
No.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Just.
I'm great. I don't think I'm good.
You made fun of me when I did it. You were like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, no. This conversation.
She wasn't here.
I wasn't here. I'm
Yeah.
telling you what I did reaction. It's so insensitive.
It's too great.
She was dying yesterday.
I know she wasn't here yesterday, but how's that working?
It does. I don't know. She's
What kind of reaction to what?
I don't know. I'm
Oh, you
not
didn't.
supposed to be allergic to anything, but like I broke out in hives Monday. Not Monday. We weren't here Monday. Day before yesterday in the morning.
Wednesday?
And then I was just like, oh, Wednesday.
Monday.
And then, like, it went away, but I was shaking, it was really bad. And then yesterday, like, I broke out in hives, and then my, like, limbs started turning purple. So
Were you like that kid? Were you
I'm
that?
going to the doctor, but
Are you the bubblegum girl?
I'm not.
You know her?
No.
You don't know the bubblegum girl?
No, I know.
You do? You're not the bubblegum girl.
Oh my gosh.
What the fuck? Slame. I'm glad no one actually listens to me.
Okay, the Kermit slip and slide joke was Garrett and my show, and I am offended.
No, I wasn't talking about that, but okay.
The Kermit slip and slide?
That's not what I was talking about.
That's what you said.
No. Bran. No, I'm a gibber. Butts and
Are you
fart.
and Rachel still dating?
No. Yeah, we are. We are.
No.
Yes.
You said no.
It's a
Why?
yes. What do you
Why'd
mean?
you say no?
It was like sarcasm because I thought she knew. But then I was like, wait, she doesn't know.
She asked you.
You can kill me later. Alright?
I know, I'm sorry, I'm trying to write really fast.
Are you guys just taking pictures
Of egg mayonnaise.
What?
No, because he said, well, yeah, but
Okay, so cats and whelks, rocks and sausages, baby sham and human feces. So it's S. Okay. So it. Okay.
All of them.
Yeah, let's use everything.
Like all of them? Like they're down.
Yeah, it's super easy and it's not that long.
Here, take it with my phone. Just take pictures with my phone on my Snapchat.
On Snapchat?
I don't like saving things to my regular camera roll.
I'll just take a picture. Just copy my work.
It was like this big, not even joking. You could set it on your lap, and it wouldn't fit on your lap.
Oh, elephants don't like mice.
Why?
Okay, so let me show you. Let me find a picture or something, because I would say I'm pretty sure I have
Jason. A wingless fly, a walk. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. I've been. Oh, my butt's in my mouth. You know, I'm done with this game. Goodbye.
Why did I ask?
I mean, I'll take a picture of this one when I'm done. As in when I'm done copying.
Wait, so photos are saved on Snapchat?
What?
You can save photos on Snapchat?
Yeah. You have your memories.
Really?
Yeah.
That was flawless, by the way. That was almost flawless.
I'll show you in a second.
What was funny about that?
You fell.
I just got up and walked.
Yeah, it was funny.
Why is that funny?
It's funny.
I'm a cat, only I sit.
Those are my weed shoes, and I appreciate it if you didn't get your dirt off.
Look.
Oh, those are your socks. They have yellow stripes on them.
I didn't notice that.
Mr. Jones, do you want to see a picture of your birthday?
What? Can anyone tell my sarcasm? Me either. It's 7% battery, and we have 1 hour left.
That's too long.
Can you feel it? Too long. Can you feel it? I'm gonna play that song. Yeah. Too long.
Sometimes if I hear random noises, I'll try and match pitch with them. Like my car, it does this really screechy thing with the air pump, so I'll match pitch with it when I drive.
I don't know if you can hear this. I can't hear it.
We figured out how to play We Are Number One.
Like, more than you would ever
I can't hear it. I'm not gonna play it really loud.
No way that's finishing up, John?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here next Thursday or Friday.
Me either.
2 days, that's fine.
We're going to New York.
I won't be here Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I have robotics.
Huh?
I'll be in the intensive care unit.
She said maybe? Because I may, hopefully. But let's see. Let's let the week go.
I will come see you. Where? Be in the ICU. I'll probably go to the park. I know what it says.
Why is it called the ICU?
Intensive care unit.
But what if I don't see you? Fuck.
God, stop.
I messed up. That's why I said fuck. The game just like hated me.
Okay, Michael Armbruster just sent me a video, and I know it's him screaming, so.
Tell him to suck my wee wee and then call me a pee pee. It's been much too long. I feel it coming on. The feeling's getting strong. Too long. Can you feel it?
Which page were you on?
A walk.
So no, it doesn't matter. I'll get
Nope.
it. No, I got it now. Oh, well, it's the next one.
What the heck is this? Space Serious Business. Flintstones?
Let's talk about it. So we have plenty of time for some
The feeling's getting strong. Too long.
I missed half of Wednesday, so that'll be this class.
I'm gonna miss Wednesday. Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Alright, folks, so go with this. I want to go back to the stuff we did yesterday, so
What did we do yesterday?
call it back to
I wasn't here.
You were too here. You just weren't.
call it back to
Brain dead.
everyone be focus.
Like for real? Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
I get these shoes.
I have socks on, see? They're socks, they're clean.
Alright, let's skip around on the questions. I'm not going to go over every question.
I'll stop. I said I'll stop.
So, when we're talking about these guys,
No.
6 and 7, so when we added up the total outputs and subtracted the input, it was not the same. So number 7 says y was really not the same. So why were your outputs less than the inputs? We took out, so our outputs were heat loss, respiration, and egestation, or egested. poop.
Same.
Alright? Alright. So, when you add up all of those things, so like for over A, you got 0.75 kilocalories. You took in a total of 0.8 kilocalories. What explains that the 0.05 that's still technically, I guess, inside of herbivore A?
Well, I mean, I was thinking more along the lines of our body doesn't release everything we consume. Like our body has to use some of it for like bodily functions.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gets assimilated in your
It is
biomass.
stored, you're
It gets stored in your bonds. Like think of like fat. That's storing of energy, right? So your body will keep some of it. Notice that's a really, really tiny percentage always keeps, right?
Yeah.
So for 8 and 9, you should have got 69.8%, 53%. So B was more efficient. For 11, it was all about biomass, 11A. 11B should have been 6.25%, and C should have been 15%. Are we good with that? So if you poop waste, is that a wasted energy? That's number 12. So no. Because scavengers, the tridivores, the decomposers could use some of that organic matter. Let's talk about cold-blooded versus warm-blooded. This seemed to throw a couple groups off a little bit. So rabbits are warm-blooded. Grasshoppers cold-blooded. So why do rabbits use more of their energy for respiration compared to grasshoppers?
They have to store some of it.
Just a whisper softly in his
They
ear.
have to regulate their body temperature. You're warm-blooded, you have to regulate your body temperature to keep it 98.7 or whatever, right? So you're going through this process of respiration, creating this energy that will help generate heat. All right. If you're cold-blooded, how do you keep your body at a temperature that you need to be? You sunbathe, right?
Sunbathe.
Yeah, they bathe in the sun.
Just put him in a toaster.
So 14 says, which diagram would represent a grasshopper?
Right? Pretty sure it's a yes.
There's too much chatter going on if you are senior.
I think seniors are.
So, which one was A? Which one was the grasshopper?
A.
And that means that would be. How would you know that?
Grasshoppers don't consume as much and they don't waste as much.
Wait, grasshoppers A, right? Yeah, okay, just making sure. I thought it was like
Yeah, okay, less
also
energy.
pooping.
That's one way. I actually calculated like how much it was related back to the question before. 24% of the grasshopper stuff was respiration. 32% was the rabbit. So that's what the rabbit had to use more energy for respiration than the grasshopper did. So same thing there. All right, let's talk. Okay, 1 and 2 about the fox and the plant material is really important. All right, so if you don't pay attention to anything during this little time we have right now, then you need to listen to this.
We got
So
less than an hour.
people struggle with this the most.
45 minutes.
So a fox needs 800 kilocalories a day, right? But the question says how many square meters of plant material are required to support the fox? So this question is really all about the plants. Right? So if the fox needs 800 kilocalories, and we're following the rule of 10 here, its prey, how much from the prey is available to the fox? This would be 10% of 8,000. So there is 8,000 kilocalories available to the fox. But the fox only needs 10% of that, right? It only uses 10% of that. All right. So and then we have the plants, the producers, right? And that's what we're worried about, plants. So what value would this be?
A lot.
80,000. Are we okay with this? So So things, basically it's a unit conversion for the most part. You had to get from days to years. So you took this, because this is technically kilocalories per day. I had to write that, that's what that was. So you times about 365, I got it to years. Now it's 29.2 million, right? Then you had to get your, basically you had to get your unit to meters squared. So I did a train track using 8,000. So basically you did 29.2 million divided by 8,000, and you got this, right? 3,650 meters squared. Are we okay with that? I'm not gonna go too much detail about it. Did y'all get that?
No.
For a lot of people, no.
I think you got plants wrong or something.
No.
Because it's right here. Plant material is 80,000.
That's their productivity.
Oh, so that's prey.
And that's per meter squared.
I'm just gonna draw with it just grew.
This is not meter squared. This is how much maximum the plants will. This is like the MVP of the plants per day total.
Oh, okay.
Not per meter squared. All right. So what? So times this by 365 gets you 29.2 million kilocalories per year. People that missed it, did you get this?
No.
So what did you do? You got here, right?
No.
What? So did you just do 80,000 divided by 8,000?
Yeah.
Okay. 10. All right. So you had to get it to years. And then the next step was to do. So now that this is in years, the 8,000 kilocalories per meter squared is also in years. So you don't really need the years anymore. So we're going to take this value and do a train track to get it to meters squared. I know there's the primary productivity of this per meter squared is 8,000 kilocalories per 1 meter squared. Those will cancel and I'm left with meters squared. And that's how I got 3,650. If you miss it, do you see why? What's going on? Are we okay with that? Yes. Because you just count it per day, I guess. Yeah. Now we got it.
So wait, what is the answer per day?
10?
Yeah.
10?
Yeah.
So we got,
Well, that's
we just
really-
did it per day.
3,600.
Yeah, you didn't do the per year part. Yeah.
Yeah.